right, our next performer is a Haitian-born writer, speaker, spoken word artist, and political brain. Her first poetry collection, Close Your Eyes, Now Breathe, was published in 2017, followed up by Loudmouth in February 2018. Yeah, that's my favorite title of a book ever. Flo's Busquiat lives in Lantana, Florida, where she spends her free time writing, working local political campaigns, performing, and doing volunteer work. Also, she was like my first new friend when I moved back down here. So please clap it up for my favorite feminist.
Hello, everybody. So I don't want you to think that poets are just like really depressed and thinking about society all the time, because we are. My stuff's not going to be really funny either, but I came on the way in Jen, I was totally feeling it, because that's like poetry. You're supposed to take your really like sad and traumatic shit and make it into art. Woo! She accomplished that really well. My son is a lot taller than me, and I'm trying to figure out how to press it and make it a lot smaller. But I did think about a joke on the way over. I was thinking to myself, I talk a lot. If you know me, you know that I'm always fucking talking. Those are my friends. When I'm not talking, I'm thinking about shit, like really deep stuff, like how did the earth come to be and why is Donald Trump president? Stuff like that. So anyway, I put the book down. It's a marketing ploy, and I'll pick it back up.
Yes. Get your points.
Yes, girl, I
Get your
my
points.
So I cut my hair recently. I don't always have. Thank you very much. And I grew up in a Haitian household. I grew up in Haiti. My parents are pretty conservative. This is not a judgment of my parents, but they can be a bit homophobic and things of that nature. They're learning. I will redeem them before they die. So I get a call from my dad. He's like, Flo's. I'm like, yes, Dad. Nice to hear from you. He's like, I was on your Facebook page. I was like, great. That's how we communicate with our parents nowadays. There's no timelines. And I saw that you cut your hair. Correct, Father. I have cut my hair. God is not happy with you. I was like, well, fuck, Dad. Like, God is not happy with me. That can't be good. He's like, yeah. God is not happy with your haircut. I'm like, my haircut? Like, God has other things to worry about. There's Donald Trump, there's famine, there's poverty. Donald Trump, like, he's got a lot on his to-do list, and he's doing a terrible job. Like, why is he upset with me? He's like, well, that's a lesbian's haircut.
Oh, damn.
I was like, well, okay. He's like, you can't be a lesbian. And I was like, that's true. I'm not a lesbian, I'm a pansexual. So I'm close, as Alicia said. I live in South Florida, but I was born in Haiti, grew up in Rockland County, New York, went to like a PWI, that means a super wet fucking college in the middle of winter in upstate New York. In between all of that, poetry's been like my solace. And I think for a lot of us, like with Jen's experiences, a lot of us, we turn to poetry as an art form to really deal with all that is society. And so that's been the truth for me. And Loudmouth, my marketing ploy, is my second collection of poetry. You can buy it on Amazon, but don't do that because they're evil. Just go to the trunk of my car. I take clean and dirty money. I don't care. It's sweaty from the King of Diamonds or has I will accept it. I have bills to pay. So I will be reading from Loudmouth, but I also have a first collection, Close Your Eyes, Now Breathe. My poetry tonight is a little bit serious and does talk about trauma and loving yourself, so if that's something that's a trigger for you, I just want to warn you! So the first piece, Brain Blow, just kind of gives you an idea that, you know, fuck society's expectations of you, any labels that society puts on you, those things aren't who you are, like you are who you decide you are. And so rainbow. Where's the light? You think there's light up here, but where is it? All right. Pivot a little bit. All right. As I sit on the floor with tears at my feet, I plug. I want to unroot every loaded term I've ever heard from the matted dirt in my brain, especially the ones that hurt. When my hands face my eyes, the prickles I've removed from the inner me lie cold in my palm. Nigger. It no longer whips my bones and hangs my blood dry. Well, how about bitch? Well, my vagina remains unsettled. Crazy. My anxiety doesn't travel through my body and it doesn't run under blankets and hide beyond the legal 8. Loud. My big, beautiful lips don't chafe and blister with anger anymore when I hear that. Unreligious. Every cell in my body does its own dance because I'm not afraid of your angels. I am who I am. And now I'm plucking faster, yanking at every root until there's nothing but scalp. When I've achieved this, I look at myself in the mirror. Wow, you, the real you, here you are, so beautiful, so untouched. Then I step aside and I watch the whole thing explode into something that is so beautiful, so full of light and love, and I inch closer. I pick up the pieces and I swallow each bit like alfalfa sprout, and I talk to them, and I say, grow in my belly, grow so strong until society is no longer your trigger. So I write poetry, but I work in marketing, and I also manage political campaigns. I grew up in Haiti. My dad was a politician, and it's something that I just kind of know, and I do it well. But I'm also like this badass poet feminist and shit. Those identities don't always like come together nicely, especially if you work for like older like white men. Like no offense to any old white men out there. We're like super liberal and accepting, thank you, but that is not what all of you are like. And so I did this photo series for Loudmouth. Again, marketing employee. You can buy it on Amazon. I'm a bestseller. And so sometimes when I work in politics and people really want to fucking get elected because they want to be a mayor or whatever the fuck they want to be, they're like, you have this photo series where like 80% of your body is like showing and those pictures on Instagram and oh my god, like that can end my election. And I'm like, listen, fucker, I can be smart and beautiful and sexy and all of that shit all at the same time because that's like, we can be that. We're women, we're awesome, we can multitask. Here in Delray Beach a couple years ago, and this gentleman who happened to be an older white man, like I'm not trying to fuck y'all over, it just so happened to be. This is what it is. And so he emailed the guy that I was working for, and he was like, look at this girl's poetry, it's so like scandalous. I was like, I can show you scandalous shit. That's a poem about menstruation and making sure that young girls in countries like Haiti and India and continents like Africa have access to menstruation products. Like that's not a scandalous poem, but I can show you a few if you. But anyway, it was very upsetting, and so I wrote this piece, and that's what that is about. And there is, some shit in there. So if you've got stuff that you're still dealing with that you're not comfortable with, that this is my warning. But anyway, dear Jerry, white misogynist men who bully. There's a burning flame. I want to follow it down the path, but society jerks me back. But I want to run barefoot and orgasm with the feeling of soft grass on my back and volcanic sun on my breast. Don't tell me that my desires aren't proper. Fuck your politics, fuck your bullying. I am woman. I'm allowed to be wild and free in the words that I use and the desires that I have. And you know nothing of what it took for me to get here. You know nothing of what it took to stand naked in front of power at merely 5 years old more than once. of how late night rumbles existed for me before I understood that a young body is not meant to be stroked, fingered, kissed, and fucked so young, of how I had to negotiate my tiny flesh off the black market, of how the ones I loved the most couldn't hear me when I spoke, of how the ones who I loved most couldn't hear me when I spoke. So fuck your politics. What you think I should write about, how you think I should sex, when you think it's appropriate for me to speak, and what about? You know nothing of the journey it took for me to let go of shame. You know nothing of what it took for me to let go of shame. The day that I realized that I could find pleasure between the thighs of a woman, I felt more afraid than the day that I realized that I could find pleasure with a man underneath me. But the prolonged touch of men and women can do that to someone. But today, I found liberation in my sexuality and peace in wanting to love every single human being simply because they are a human being. There's a beaming light inside of me illuminating the pathway to God. And guess what? I'm not yours to possess. Not with your bullying, not with your complimenting the parts of me that you find most comfortable, not with you complimenting the parts of me that you find most comfortable, not with your approval. I am mine to be, and I will be me even if I have to pull myself from society's sturdy claws and walk my way to God in sinking chaos. I am mine to be, and I will be me. That was the last piece, but I am Flows. You can follow me on social media at Let It Flows. You can buy my books on Amazon at the bookseller Lake Worth, Poetic Justice in Port St. Lucie, or you can meet me outside where it goes down.